Hi, everybody, and welcome in to the PHNX Suns postgame show, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. Sad panda music today because the Suns fall to the Kings, 128-119. This sucked.
Nights like tonight, Lindsay, that I like to look at the world and reassess my life and wonder what any of us are doing with our time.
I mean,
especially those refs. They probably should be considering new career choices.
Listen, the refs were definitely a part of this, but they were not the sole reason that the Suns lost this game.
Yeah, they were 65%.
As much as I would like to blame this all on them, we can't. But we can rant about it for a minute.
We can blame it on it. This is our show. We can do whatever we want. You remember that, right, Lindsay?
I mean, that's true. I think we should start with the end of this game because I feel like obviously that was the most relevant part of this game, maybe. The fact that the Kings ended the game on a 13-4 scoring run seems like a problem.
Yeah, that wasn't the refs. That was just bad defense.
You know, yeah.
I'm just going to be honest on that. They couldn't stop the Kings down the stretch, and I think throughout this game they relied too much on the quick three-pointer, and when they got back in it, when they took the lead, they were cutting to the hoop, they were getting to the basket, at times even drawing fouls, surprise, surprise, and instead, down the stretch, they couldn't get a stop. They were shooting a lot of threes that they didn't hit, and the Kings just found a way to do it. I mean, Malik Monk was insane for a stretch in that fourth as well.
He was really on my nerves.
Yeah. There were
for a hot minute there, it was like, can you just miss one?
Yeah, I mean.
Please and thank you.
I think it was 4 straight he hit there. Look, this is a night I look at and I go, everything reverted back to the way it was. Devin Booker got hard double teams.
Yeah.
He had to pass out of it. You know, CP3 and DA did what they could, but there was no number 1A or 1B to go along with Booker. Guess what? That guy is here. He's just injured right now. So it gave me confidence that if you're facing the Kings in the playoffs or later on with KD there, I'm not all that scared. But when you face him again in 2 weeks without KD, you may see very much the same here because the Suns are more. They're one-dimensional at times when KD ain't out there.
We missed a lot of open threes tonight, too. And the Kings, they had 7 double-digit scorers and then 2 additional players who had 9 points each. So as much as this was a winnable game for the Suns, like, that's tough to beat. It really is. But, again, I still think, even though we play the Kings again in just a few weeks, like you mentioned, even without Kevin Durant, I truly believe the Suns can beat this team.
I don't know.
They should have won tonight. I genuinely think they should have won tonight.
They should have, but
there were points in time. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
There were points in time in this game where I feel like the Suns beat themselves. Well, for one, it looked like Torrey Craig was hurt at the end of the game. He probably shouldn't have been in there to begin with. And then in the second quarter, when their bench really wrecked our bench, we were whining about all the calls, which granted, I understand they were frustrating as hell. That was the longest quarter of basketball in my life.
Yeah.
I get it. But that took the Suns allowed that to take them out of their game.
Yeah.
So there were moments where I feel like if the Suns had kept it together a little bit more, they could have won this game.
Well, very rarely are you going to win a game when you give up 124 points. So, I mean, but what gives me pause about saying, oh, well, I really think they can win next time. This was the one they should have won. Sabonis had 15 points and 8 rebounds. DA outplayed him. De'Aaron Fox had 18 points and 6 assists. Chris Paul outplayed him. The difference came down to a bunch of bench guys. I mean, Trey Lyles has 13 points. Edwards has 12 points. David Mitchell has 13 points. Malik Monk has 18 points. The bench is the only reason the Kings won this game, and their 2 stars didn't show up as much as everybody expected. So next time, you're not going to hold Sabonis to 15 and 8. You're not going to hold De'Aaron Fox to 8 of 22 shooting. So this was your opportunity to beat this team without Kevin Durant and to keep yourself in the hunt for that 2 or 3 seed. Now I think you've made it much more difficult for yourself because now you're 3.5 back. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look at some of the numbers, shall we? By taking a peek inside the box.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
I'd prefer it to be Gwyneth Paltrow's head today. I mean, this is almost as gruesome. It's a 128-119 Kings victory. 3-point shooting, well, they got 44 of them up. They only hit 13, where the Kings hit 15 of 35. And right there, that 6 points is a big part of the differential here. But don't wait. Don't look. Their buddy free throws comes in next. 18 of 22 for the Suns. The Kings shot 31 of 37. And as we mentioned, that bench for the Kings outscored the Suns 65-34. And that's how you get your teeth kicked in a 128-119 loss.
Shoot. Which one do you want to start with, Espo?
None of them. I don't want to talk about
the free throws because then we can just like vent a little bit about it.
Let's do
it. The free throws. Let's do that first. So many free throws, especially in the first half of this game. There were 26 free throw attempts for the Kings at halftime. 26 free throw attempts for the Kings at halftime. They combined, the Suns and the Kings, for 41 attempts in the first half.
Yeah, the Kings had 26 in the first half. The Suns finished with 22 for the whole game.
Absolutely insane.
Dug yourself a little bit of a hole there.
There were multiple things. As I mentioned, like the Suns were complaining about it, kind of took them out of their game with that, killed the momentum. Also, as a fan just watching, that quarter of basketball was not fun to watch whatsoever.
Well, at one point you looked and you're like, it's so late already, like because it dragged on forever. Part of it was, in particular, DA on the defensive end was getting up off his feet rather than standing flat with Sabonis, and that was kind of where Sabonis got it going a little bit because he kept getting the line, and that was his most effective stretch throughout. But the entire quarter, the whole momentum of each team was slowed down by the refs. Sometimes you got to let these guys play.
Mm-hmm.
And that second quarter was the epitome of not letting guys play. And it got Sacramento the lead back. The Suns were up double digits early in this game. This swung things back in the Kings' favor and made it atrocious to watch basketball-wise. It was not pretty. I mean, I think Fred VanVleet earlier in the week said everything you need to know about refs.
Yeah.
So just Google his rant, and that'd be more effective than anything I could tell you right now.
That's exactly how we feel. But to be completely honest, it does make me feel a little bit better that it's not specific to the Suns.
No, it's
that this is a league-wide issue, and I hope that because it is league-wide and so many fans and players are now coming and talking about it publicly, maybe they will do something. I'm not going to hold my breath, but maybe they will do something about it.
This is a league that had Tim Donaghy and a gambling scandal that they brushed under the rug. There's still refs in this league that were connected to that whole scandal that are still in the league reffing. I'm not holding my breath in any way, shape, or form that Adam Silver figures out a way to clean any of this up. Definitely not before the playoffs. So buckle up.
This year,
You're going to see it. A lot more of this, but you would hope the fact that the players are saying, you know what, we don't care if we get fined. This is bad enough where, I mean, Fred VanVleet called out specific refs by name.
Which I love.
I mean, which rarely happens, but they're getting to a point, these players, where like, nobody's paying to come see the refs. Nobody wants to see Scott Foster blow the freaking whistle. We're here to see the players, and they're not letting these guys go out and do their job.
Yes, absolutely. They definitely need to find some sort of a solution tonight. I'm not, again, like we said off the top, we are not saying that the Suns lost this game simply because of the officiating. It was a factor, but also we're complaining about it because as a fan, that portion of this game where there were 1,000 fouls called was not fun to watch.
No.
You saw it in the fourth quarter too. When the whistle started to slow down and cool off, the basketball was better.
Yeah.
It was a more fun quarter of basketball to watch.
Yeah, and look, no, did the Suns lose because of the refs? No, but it was a hell of a lot worse to watch as a fan.
And it was a little bit harder to win.
But down the stretch, the Suns lost because they couldn't play defense and didn't hit shots. Let's make that very clear. But the refs did not help it and did not make it any more palatable to watch, especially in that second quarter.
Mm-hmm. Trevor sent us a super chat. They said, we need to stop missing free throws. This is true. It's not like we get a whole lot of them, so you can't miss any of them. We were 18 of 22 tonight, which isn't atrocious, but
still, those are easy
free
points.
Free points. You got to make them all.
There was Torrey Craig, who was suffering from what appeared to be an ankle ailment throughout that final quarter, had a couple there that he missed the front end of it, and that kind of killed the last gasp that this team had. But they need to do much better on from behind the free throw line.
All right, next up, let's talk about 3-point shooting. 3-point shooting tonight. That was in our box. What did we end up with? Suns shot 29.5% from deep, and the Kings shot 42.9% from deep. That's a big difference. Honestly, I know this sounds silly, but a lot of them were open threes too. Whirly Squirrely in the chat, if wide open dudes make their damn shots, we win. There were moments tonight where I was like, you got to make that.
Well, especially Ish Wainwright. I mean, the other night he was kind of the hero because he came in the fourth and was hitting those. Tonight he goes 1 of 6, and most of those were open looks. But to me, at some point you got to look and go, we're not hitting from here. We're hitting when we get to the rim. We're doing those things. We're a team that's been predicated on the mid-range for so long. Why are we shooting 42 threes in this game? I don't understand why they're doing that. So that's frustrating to me.
The thought process is always going to be shoot through it. Yeah, eventually they'll fall.
I'm fine, but shoot from 18 feet sometimes. Dribble, if you're open, take a couple dribbles in and shoot. I know it's not the popular analytics mindset with this, but if you keep missing threes, let's try a few twos. See if you can get a rhythm and then go back to the threes. Because like I said, that when this team got back in, it took the lead. It was because they were cutting to the basket and they were using that and then taking threes sparingly within that. It's frustrating that on nights like tonight where they just aren't falling, they continue to shoot them. And every time you shoot one of those and miss them, that's an opportunity you didn't take a higher percentage shot that you could have made and kept yourself in this game.
Brittany in the chat said, remember when we used to be able to play D. Lee for clutch threes in the fourth? Those are the days.
Yeah, I don't understand why. D. Lee had 4 minutes in this game. 4. You're not hitting shots. Why are you not giving him the opportunity at some point?
He's been struggling a little bit as of late. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but it kind of feels like he's lost his rhythm that he had early on in the season, and I'm not sure what the reasoning behind it is.
Yeah, but the only way he can get his rhythm back is if he gets some attempts.
That's true.
And when he only gets 4 minutes, when you're shooting 31% from three anyways, it's unfortunate. By the way, those of you asking in the chat, I'm actually 6'7", not 6'1". Get it right. I'm 5'9", everybody. I'm 5'9", all right?
I'm 6'8".
Oh, we know that. That's why you dominate on the boards, all right?
Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, we have a couple of super chats here. This one is from Trevor. Trevor said, frustrated we couldn't take the lead the amount of times we tied it. Defense sucked and can't afford these losses. Fred was right about the refs.
Yeah, look, they're still, 8 games above 500, still 22-10 at home. This is their first game. I know they didn't have KD the other night, but this is the first game they knew they were going to be missing him for a long stretch here, a couple weeks. So I don't know. And they had a shot to win this game. And this isn't, if this were the Kings of 2 or 3 years ago, I'd understand this is awful. This is the number 2 team in the West. Mm-hmm. This is a team that has played very well all year. They're 39-26. They're no slouches. So you hung in there and you had the opportunity, really you had the opportunity until the very end to try to stay in this. And the final minute was when the Kings kind of pulled away. So I don't like moral victories, but this could have been worse than it turned out to be.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break and grab some beer, some Four Peaks beer. While I'm telling you about this, I want to know who you guys think the king of the game should be. So if you're in the chat, drop it in and let us know who your King would be for tonight's game. But if you're feeling some type of way after the Suns lost and you just want to, wash it down with a nice cold beverage, I recommend Four Peaks beer, specifically the Suns Brew. I've heard that one is a fantastic beer. The hazy IPA.
Or the hazy APA.
Whatever it may be, is also a really solid beer. And the Wow Wheat seems to be a fan favorite around
I love the
PHNX
Wow
offices.
Wheat. I love the peach. Suns Brew is really good. I gotta say, I've never actually had a hazy IPA.
Really?
I gotta add it onto the list.
You gotta add it onto the list. From what I hear, it is a solid IPA. Obviously, IPAs are, they're kind of, you gotta have a taste for them, right?
Emma, can you get me a hazy? I'd like to try it right here on the program.
There you go. Let's do that. If you guys want to keep up with everything going on over at our Four Peaks, check them out at Four Peaks Brew on social media. And you already know that St. Patrick's Day is next week. And the best place to spend it is, of course, Four Peaks 8th Street Pub. Go hang out, have a great time, drink some amazing beer. Just a reminder, you do have to be 21 years or older, and we ask that you enjoy responsibly. What do you think? Is it good?
It's good.
Yeah? Not too shabby?
And hazy. I can taste the haze.
You can taste the haze?
The can's perfect for the show, too. A little purple and orange going on there.
Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, let's take a peek in the chat and see. We've got some Terrence Ross. We've got some Book. Let's see. We got DA.
We got Hello blaming me for the loss by saying I talked shit about the Sacramento Beam and never talk shit about the Beam. Hey, the Sacramento Beamers are playing well, all right?
So not a lot of votes for a solid one singular person. So here's the thing.
So we give it to no one?
Do we give it to no one?
No, look, there's somebody deserving of it tonight.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and give it to Deandre Ayton.
That's right.
DA is our draft king of the game. He finished with 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 steals and 2 blocks. Now, I know everyone's might be a little upset. DA did have a couple boneheaded plays in tonight's game, but I don't think that you should take those boneheaded plays and let that overshadow everything else he did in tonight's game. He played solid defense. He showed up big on the boards, contributed offensively. Like it was a good game by DA.
Everything he did gave them an opportunity to win in this game. Sure, he had a few mistakes, but he outplayed Domantas Sabonis, a guy who is considered to potentially be a third-team All-NBA center this year, has led the Kings to one of the better records in the league, and DA completely outplayed him. More points, more rebounds, more blocks than him tonight. I think DA played fantastic, and anybody that's not willing to notice that is somebody that's just going to hate on DA no matter what. We've been harsh on him lately. He's been rough. He came to play today. So
yeah, and even though in the last couple of games offensively he hadn't shown up big, he was still defensively contributing in ways that were important to this team. And I'm sure that he's trying to figure out what his new role looks like with KD and then now without KD and then when KD comes back. Because everyone was saying DA is the guy who will likely be the most affected by Kevin Durant's presence and now lack of presence on this team.
Look, when you look at Ayton, Paul, and Booker, they did everything they needed to tonight.
Yeah.
Even Josh Okogie came up big with 3 of 6 from 3. Like everybody in that starting lineup performed the way that that they were supposed to, that we said pregame they needed to win. It just came down to the fact that, outside of Terrence Ross on the bench, they scored, 16 points? That doesn't get it done. It just doesn't.
Nope. Not at all. It's unfortunate, but DA, congratulations on being named our DraftKings king of the game. Listen, it wasn't a good night for any of us on the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
No, it was not.
I hope that all of you guys listening and watching had a better night on the DraftKings Sportsbook app than we did, because all 3 of us lost our bets. Not a single one of us hit tonight, which means we are all minus $10 on our leaderboard, which means the order remains the same. It just doesn't look nearly as pretty. Saul's still in the lead with $264.13. I'm coming up. I'm right there. I'm coming for you, Saul. 260.04. And then Espo, you're at 227.
Oh, I told you Book was going to need to score 40 to win tonight. They didn't win, so I lost my bet.
Well, there you go. You knew.
I did.
If you guys want to get in on the action on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, be sure to download it right now, but make sure you sign up using that promo code PHNX because new customers can bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Again, that code is PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, so we have another super chat. This one is from Ryan. Ryan, thank you for your super chat. They said, another thing that's been an issue is their inability to close games out in the clutch. A stark contrast compared to last year.
That's true. You look at, going into the 5-minute mark, this was a close game.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that's where last year Devin Booker, CP3 would turn it on and carry them to victory. That hasn't been the case this year.
Yeah.
You know what makes that look a lot different? Kevin freaking Durant. You saw it in the 3 games that he played down the stretch. That's a guy that will help make Book better and is able to get his own shot basically at will. So again, look, in a vacuum right now, looking at what this team is at the moment, yeah, that was rough down the stretch. But Kevin Durant is back in 2 weeks. I mean, I feel like we're going to wind up saying this a lot over the next 2 weeks. Anytime they lose, everybody's going to hit the panic button and go, it's over. They can't win. And forget that one of the greatest ever to do it is sitting on that bench, and we'll be back in time for the playoffs. So, yeah, tonight could have been a victory. It wasn't because they couldn't get it done in the clutch. That's been something that happened a lot this year. That's why you go get Kevin Durant, and when he's back, you won't have those clutch issues.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even though Chris Paul has not been the Chris Paul of last year and before, I still think Chris Paul has a lot of gas left in the tank.
Chris Paul's a top 10 point guard in this league still.
Yes. And he proved that he still has something left to give tonight. I mean, 16 points, 16 assists. Like, that's fantastic work by Chris Paul. And we said in the pregame show, too, we needed somebody other than Book. We needed a couple guys other than Book to show up tonight offensively if you wanted to beat the Kings, who are number 1 in points per game in the league. Chris Paul added in 16 additional points. Deandre Ayton added in 22. Again, we're not going to go too far into the bench any more than we already have because we get it. It kind of is what it is. Is there a depth issue? You could ask yourself there. I feel like you could say that there is a depth issue when you don't have your solid starting 5. When your starting 5 is not fully healthy, then maybe.
Okay, but look at this. Outside of Ish Wainwright, who played 15 minutes, nobody that wasn't named Terrence Ross got more than 7 minutes. And they didn't shoot all that bad when you look at the actual stats.
You know, you do bring up a good point. This is way too many players for Manu to be putting out in a single game, especially after he talked after the trade deadline, needing to tighten up his rotations. So yeah, if you had removed 2 of these guys, then that's an extra 9 to 10 minutes that somebody else could have taken that time, and they could have built a little bit more rhythm. Hello in the chat said, can Monty stop playing 12 guys? We never win when we play 12 guys.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at it, people bagging on Campaign, and I get it. He hasn't been great since he came back, but he had 5 points in 7 minutes, shot 2 of 3, had 2 assists and a rebound. I mean, and didn't play again. Now, I didn't see him get hurt in that final play of the first half. We'll have to ask Gerald if there was something as to why, but I mean, he only played 7 minutes and he was shooting all right. Jock Landale was 1 of 2, only played 5 minutes. Damian Lee, 1 for 1, only played 4 minutes. Bismack Biyombo, 1 for 1, only played 5 minutes. Ish Wainwright was the guy that missed most of the shots on the bench. He was 1 of 7, 1 of 6 from 3. So I understand hanging this on the bench, but it's also like, what were these guys supposed to do in 4 or 5 minutes? So,
oh my goodness gracious!
Brian says Monty has no clue how to coach this team. I'd rather have Espo out there. That is the worst idea ever. I would coach this team like shit.
Yeah, I don't think we would do a much better job. Brittany does bring up a good point that Campaign did have 3 fouls in like 7 minutes.
I get that, but
which I will give you that one.
But why ship him to Siberia at that point? If he plays another 7 minutes and fouls out, fine. Then he's out of the game. You're not playing him. But he was helping offensively out there when this team needed some offense from that second unit. This is too much ish for my liking. I get
too
that,
much ish for your liking.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that he showed flashes in that fourth quarter the other night when Josh Okogie wasn't hitting jack squat, when he was 0 of 8, I believe, against the Mavs, and he came in and helped. But 1 of 7, 1 of 6 from 3, and he's the guy you roll with as the guy that gets the most bench minutes, not named Terrence Ross. Monty needs to figure this out. Needs to figure out who his core guys are, let them play, and run with it. Maybe a deviation. I mean, he talked about 9.5 guys, right? Maybe there's a deviation of one guy that you switch out depending on matchups. But it's time to pare this down. It's time to decide on who this should be and why they should be playing. And I love me some Torrey Craig, but I might give TJ Warren a shot in the starting lineup, or somebody else a shot, because Torrey Craig struggles mightily in that starting lineup offensively, where he kind of finds himself a little bit on the bench, and you need some stability on the bench where I think you can take a more of a chance in the starting lineup when you've got the big three that are out there. And on the night that Josh Okogie is shooting well, you could afford to try somebody else. 1 of 5, 0 of 4 from 3, only 4 points in 28 minutes is difficult for me to swallow. But then he goes and plays 15 minutes off the bench and plays really, plays solid. Torrey Craig is better in that role, so why not leave him in that role and try somebody else? I don't know that TJ Warren's a guy. He was 0 for, he didn't shoot tonight, but I'd like something.
Which is kind of like, I know he only played 4 minutes, but like, I just want to see what TJ can do. We talked so much about TJ when this trade happened. I would just like to see it a little bit. That's all.
And yes, Brittany, I understand he had fouls. I get that. Again, I understand that he had a lot of fouls, and that was a big problem with the bench tonight. I mean, there were a lot of fouls that came quickly with those guys, but that's one night. I just want to see something a little bit different. If we're going to have another 2 weeks of no KD and we got to experiment, give somebody else a shot in that lineup and let Torrey Craig play his natural role on the bench right now. I think that's better.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what Monty does, but I think he needs to try and hone it in and maybe not experiment so much throughout a single game. Like if you want to experiment with one thing each game or 2 things. Sometimes I think he gets a little bit nervous about what's happening and reverts back.
Well,
which I can understand, but I just don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I'd like to act like you can still play mad scientist and play 14 guys on a given night, or 13 or 12, whatever the case may be, we're down the stretch, right? All these games are going to matter in seeding. So I again, nitpicking to a certain extent, but give me a little something different,
Yeah. Jeremy said you can't get a rhythm if you're not getting any minutes.
Yeah, and Chris said Espo's right. I can't read it. Oh, good point on shaking it up with TJ. Espo Torrey is killing us. So I think that's definitely, if you're looking for something, that's one that makes sense to experiment with.
Yeah.
So.
You know what have made this evening a little bit better?
Oh, geez.
No, if we were all in this together, like if we were all together, we could commiserate all at the same time at the same place while also playing golf, drinking beer, eating good food, and all the things. Wouldn't that have been way more fun? I feel like I would have been.
I might have let a riot there in the fourth.
I mean, I feel like I would have had way more fun tonight if we were at a PHNX watch party for this game. I'm just saying. Maybe. If you're worried about what the Suns are going to do over the next week, at least next Friday, or no, March 24th. That's what, 2 Fridays from now?
Sure.
2 Fridays from now, I think.
This next Friday, we're all at Craig Morgan's house. Friday after.
I think it's the Friday after.
DM me, I'll give you Craig's address.
Yeah, March 24th, we're all going to be together at a PHNX tea party. We're going to watch the Suns take on the Kings. Again, but this time we're all going to be together so we can cheer together, we can cry together, we can laugh together. like I said, we are going to be out at the Dobson Ranch Golf Course. So we're going to be playing golf. We're going to be drinking beer, eating good food, hanging out with good people. Come hang out with us. The last PHNX Tea Party was an absolute blast. It is $45 per person. If you are a diehard, you could get your ticket for $36 or $160 per foursome. Or again, if you are a diehard, you can get it for $120. Kids 10 and under play free. We also have a little youth clinic. We did a putt-putt challenge last time, a shootout challenge.
The 3-point shootout was, I think one person hit a shot. It was pretty ugly. So if you have any ability to shoot a 3-pointer, you're probably going to win something is what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah. It's a lot of fun, though. And you'll get to hear me curse at a television screen if it plays out like tonight's fourth quarter, which is pretty fun as well.
So come hang out with us. Click the link in the show notes to reserve your spot today. And if you are a diehard, check the Discord for your exclusive discount link so you can make sure that you can get your discount. Also, if you guys are looking for something fun to do, maybe over spring break, I know that's coming up for a lot of parents and kids and whatnot out there, people who are in school still. Book some fun this spring at Octane Raceway and Mavericks. Kart racing, virtual reality, laser tag, axe throwing, bowling, arcades, really great food and drinks. You can find it all over at Octane Raceway and Mavericks. They open early at 10 a.m. every single day. They have doorbuster deals, including buy one, get one $20 game cards and buy one, get one free laser tag from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. They've got daily specials on food, drinks, and games. Unlimited Fun Pass are not valid for use March 13th through 16th, but check out octaneraceway.com and mavericks.com to learn more. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
Hello's always giving me grief in the chat. You're such a brat.
Hello's awesome. Thank you, Hello. My favorite Girthling. Can we give some actually, can we gas some people up tonight?
Yeah. You know, gassing somebody up is kind of like,
I'm not saying gaslighting them.
No. But correct me if I'm wrong. Gassing someone up is kind of like what you old school would have said, like blowing smoke up their ass, right?
No.
Yeah. Where it's not, no, you're being sarcastic about it. Like you're not being legit.
No.
It is.
No, Lindsay's right. No. If it's like,
hey, 21-year-old, what do you know about what they used to say back in the day?
I'm trying to help you equate it.
Watch it.
Back in my day in 2015.
I don't know why you guys try and kill giving out flowers all the time.
Let's give out flowers.
Just give out flowers.
Let's give out some flowers, and I want to give them to the one and only, the Phantom, and tonight the Phantom Menace, Josh Okogie, who had one of the greatest poster dunks I've ever seen and was pretty damn crazy out there on the defensive end, ripping basketballs away from Kings players and shot, well, we know what he is. He's a knockdown 3-point shooter, which he was this evening. I liked everything I saw from Josh Okogie out there on the floor tonight.
Yeah, I don't know how Josh Okogie finished that. Like, that was insane.
I don't either. I thought for sure he was falling about a foot short when he went up for that dunk. Mm-hmm. And he did the old MJ in freaking Space Jam, the arm stretched. He dunked and got the foul. It was one of the coolest end one dunks I have ever seen. So he was 50% from beyond the arc.
Yeah, which, you know what? I'll take 50%, especially from Josh Okogie.
I'll take 50. Yeah, I would take 50% from anybody from beyond the arc on this team.
Yes, but what I mean is because we've given him such a high designation as a knockdown 3-point shooter this year. And of course, in that Mavs game, you'll remember that was a tough night for him. So it got a little bit sketchy there, right?
Josh Okogie
now we're
was
getting
like
back to normal.
Deep sea diving?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sketchy.
It was a little sketch.
Yes.
If you're in on the inside joke, you get it. If not, sorry, you got to come around more often.
Hello, need Okogie with the Happy Gilmore shooter. We actually do that around here. So, hello, we like to do that for guys shooting while we're watching games. So, he definitely got that tonight.
Yeah, Josh Okogie was really fun. That dunk was something else. You know who else, if we're giving out flowers, I'll give one out to Busy. Busy had a nice dunk at the end of this game, too.
Yeah, and he had some defensive plays. They brought him in as a change of pace to get some defense going there in the fourth. So what I like about Busy is he can go and not play for 5-6 games, come back in. He's still going to give you the same hustle, heart, and defensive effort that you get from him every night. And then we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Terrence Ross.
Yeah.
I know he takes a lot of heat online because you know what? He shoots a hell of a lot. I mean, if the ball hits his hands, there's better chance than not that he's going to shoot it. But tonight, shot over 50%, was 4 of 10 from beyond the arc, had 18 points. He had 2 steals, an assist, and a rebound. This is where plus minus really bothers me, right? He was minus 18. But what more is he supposed to do in that? I get that his defense, he overplays sometimes. He's very, very good at overplaying and getting beaten by his man a bit. But offensively, he did everything he could, and he was very good defensively in terms of the steals tonight. Mm-hmm. So I liked what I saw, even though the metrics, the plus minus metrics, weren't exactly pretty.
I'm glad that Terrence Ross is kind of like finding his way with the Suns team, because for a minute there it was questionable, right? Like, we knew that the offense should come with him. It was just a matter of time. But that small window that it took for it to come wasn't exactly enjoyable, especially because defensively, like you said, some nights you could call him a liability. Other nights he is kind of just right there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when he's playing like he did tonight offensively, it kind of equals things out. Like, it doesn't matter. As long as he's solid defensively, you're good, because what he brings offensively completely outweighs what he lacks defensively. And I also think that defensively he'll get a little bit better as time goes on with this team. Monty had mentioned that a few games ago, that the biggest thing with bringing in new players to your squad after a trade deadline is more so on the defensive end than it is offensively, because they will figure things out as far as the sets and the plays and the things that they run offensively, but defensively, it's the verbiage and the communication that they have to get used to as well there.
Yeah, and I think with Terrence, what he needs to do is just play within himself. I think he's trying to do a little too much defensively and trying to jump things, so he winds up playing out of position on some of these switches, because if I remember correctly, he was saying in Orlando they didn't really switch the way the Suns are. So now I think he's being a little over-aggressive, winding up out of position at times because of it. Just play within yourself. Mm-hmm. With me, I need Terrence Ross to play passable defense and then score more points than the guy he's defending. Yeah. That's all I need, especially in a game like this where really it's an offensive shootout. I just need you to shoot better than the guy you're guarding, or a handful of guys you're guarding. Tonight he really did that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really complain about the output you got from him.
We did get a question from Jeremy in the chat. Said, Espo Lynn's thoughts. When KD comes back, does he jump back in like the first go around, or will this missed time hurt chemistry? I personally don't think it'll hurt chemistry too much. I did find it interesting. Did you notice? I didn't check at the end of the game, but I don't think Kevin Durant was on the bench tonight.
I didn't notice either. And that may be because they're trying to maximize every second they can on rehab.
Right.
He very much could have been in the back getting work done while watching the game. That's a common practice. So
yeah.
I wouldn't read too much into that.
But the idea of it was, at least he's with the team.
Yes.
Whereas prior to the trade deadline, you're not even with your new team, right? He still has the playbook. He can learn things. He can communicate. He can build up that chemistry, at least in some capacity, while still being around the team. So that's a benefit that you don't have, that you would get from like a trade type of a scenario.
Yeah. And look, we can sit here and talk all we want about the chemistry, and a lot of it is based on, a handful of moments we get to see. But we had Jock Landell on yesterday, and he said, this isn't anything they're worried about because KD is one of the easiest guys to integrate into something. And he said the second he came in and started playing, it was like they had played with him forever. Like there's he's not a guy that you have to work real hard to work into things, especially the way he plays, the fact that he's not a point guard or he's not a center that you have to learn how to feed and how to get him the ball. He just comes in and is pretty seamless in his integration. So I'm not really concerned about that. What I would like is him to come back with 4 or 5 games left in the season so he can get ramped back up, feel comfortable with the ankle, feel comfortable in general. I don't want to see a situation like Donovan Mitchell last year with Utah where he had the ankle injury and it kind of lingered a little bit into that first round. Suns can't afford that. They need him to come in, get comfortable in whatever small amount of games he has and be ready to go full bore when it comes to round 1, because this Western Conference, as tonight proves, there's no easy matchups. People will point to the Kings and go, that's who I want in the first round because, well, they don't have experience. They got a good team, and that's the key to it. So you're not going to have any easy series in this play.
Yeah, but overall, again, I'm not really that concerned about chemistry.
No.
I do, like we said in the pregame show, I don't want to play the Nuggets in the first round. Hopefully not play the Nuggets until the Western Conference Finals. Should we make it that far, knock on wood, touch metal or whatever, to give them more time to work through any of those kind of things that they may need to work through as a team in the playoffs. That's not to discredit whoever else we might be playing in the first or second round, but I think the Nuggets would be your toughest opponent, so you have a little bit more leeway there. But overall, I'm not overly concerned about it.
Hello has an interesting question. It's somebody you used to be a fan of. Hello wants to know, what do people think The Rock was cooking? I guess we're going to have to wait to find out.
Chili.
That's what we call a cliffhanger. Now, you know what I think it was? Something that doesn't smell real pungent, right?
Yeah.
Because if he has to ask you, do you know what The Rock is cooking?
Like, can you smell what
Yeah,
The
or
Rock
can you
is
smell it?
cooking?
Yeah.
Yeah, then it's clearly not something. It's definitely not garlic.
Yeah, it's not. He's not cooking like a big batch of marinara sauce or anything that you really smell on a frequent basis. It's something with a slight scent that I'm imagining. So.
Yeah. So listen, everybody, we're working on getting Gerald in while he is connecting.
You owe us $1, by the way.
Even if I refer to the
You're
team,
supposed to say Denver or that team in first.
You know, I'm sorry, Espo, but I think Lindsay deserves some grace because you did just tell her today.
Hey, no, I actually told her the other day.
I think that she deserves a good 24 hours.
No, that's $1.
You're going to tell me on a Friday
That's
night and
$1.
expect it to stick?
Well, it's a Saturday night, so.
Even we, okay.
I can't even tell you what day it is and have it stick.
Clearly, we've got issues. Emma, are we close with Gerald or we're working on it?
I'm not sure.
All right, so we're working on Gerald. In the meantime, we did get a super chat from D-Book Love Malia, and they sent us a sticker. Nice. And I'll read, it says, what? Shiva dog gifting a large bone, bowing respectfully. That is the definition or the description on the super chat is what they gave us.
I'm glad he's
Thank you
bowing.
for the sticker.
I'm glad the dog is bowing respectfully.
That's
sweet. Disrespectfully bowing dog, I might have felt differently about. But thank you for the super chat.
Yeah.
We appreciate D-Book Club Malia.
We appreciate it. Also, we teamed up with Circle K. They're our newest partner here at PHNX. We love having them as a part of our family. They have the best coffee, beer, and snack collection out there. Always my favorite place to go stock up before a long road trip. And the best thing about this partnership is that we're giving away an opportunity to win a $500 gas card.
Have you seen the price of gas lately?
Yes.
You could use that $500 gas card immensely right now.
Yeah. Who doesn't want a $500 gas card? If you say no, you're crazy. But all you have to do, it's super easy, is just text PHNX to 31310. That is PHNX to 31310 for an opportunity to win a $500 gas card to Circle K. You can see the show notes for even more details, get all the information there, but make sure you enter in to win.
Yeah, if you don't like gas, you don't want a gas gift card, just do it to help us out and then give the gift card to somebody else. You got an electric car? Give it to somebody else.
You can give it to me. I have a gas car still.
She drives like 4 feet every day.
This is fair.
I drive from West New Mexico. So if you want to give it to somebody, I'm your guy.
Amelia gets it. Polar Pops, love them in the summer. When the slushies at Circle K are top notch. You mix Coke and cherry, the best thing. Oh. It's like the best summer. And in the summertime, they're super cheap too. So like if you've got kids or nieces and nephews, like that's a super fun treat. Also, real quick, the PHNX Tea Party we told you about happening at Dobson Ranch, March 24th. If you don't have gear yet, you should pick some up from Bad Birdie. You don't have to wear golf gear to come to the PHNX Tea Party.
We highly encourage
but
it.
you could look like the belle of the ball at the tea party if you show up rocking some Bad Birdie. They just dropped 6 new polos, 3 new quarter zips, and 2 new hats. So check them out, badbirdiegolf.com. And you can save 15% on your next order when you use the code PHNXBB15. That's PHNXBB15.
By the way, you were totally wrong about what gas up somebody means.
What did you look up?
Well, the definition is to inflate someone's ego or say nice things about them. So,
well, that's not how it's used.
Inflate their ego in like a...
Say nice things about them? What are you looking on?
I'm looking at the internet, Lindsay.
What are you looking at on the internet?
Whatever Google gave me here.
Look up Urban Dictionary and see if that's what it is.
What does gas your girl up mean?
No, not gas your girl up.
The term gassing up is to explain in friendly greetings, compliments, or unsolicited statements of support and encouragement. That's what it is. Or according to Wiktionary, which I get all my information about words from Wiktionary, it's to inflate someone's ego in a good way.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. That's not how I've understood it.
Well,
Emma, what's going on?
I am getting so frustrated. I am about to throw the Mac because Gerald keeps calling in and then it's dropping him. And he's called in 8 times now.
So Ryan H says it means hype them up. Jose says Urban Dictionary says what Espo's saying. Hello says Espo is right. Brittany says I agree with Espo.
Yeah, you guys are also old as hell, so... Sorry, I'm so mad at this situation. I'm so mad about not being able to get Gerald. I'm so
just threw so much.
Emma, everybody's old.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That was harsh.
Tonight is
Emma went straight for your throat.
Right, just gas Emma up.
I feel like gaslighting is different. They're 2 totally different things.
Gaslighting is like
yeah.
It's like you say you're gonna do something and then you don't do it, or like vice versa, I think, right? Where
gaslighting is like literally lying.
Yeah. It's like,
to your face. Gassing someone up or gassing them up sometimes I feel like is sarcastic. I don't know. At least that's what I've been told. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Hello. Welcome to Emma's last stream. Kyle B. Espo's right. That's what I've always known gas up to mean. And yes, I am old.
I'm just trying to give people what they want. I'm trying to give them girth, and I can't even get girth for myself. I don't know what to do. Okay, I want to go home.
This show has been very much like the Suns in the second quarter. Brittany says no, gaslighting is making someone feel like they're crazy. So Emma must be gaslighting me right now. and the calls are gaslighting Emma. This is just a weird evening. I'm going to say that right here, right now on the program. This is a weird evening.
You are. All right. This has to be it. This is it, everybody. We're going to make this happen.
Oh my God.
We're going to get Gerald.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
Oh my God.
In the darkness, beyond the light.
I've never heard somebody so excited for Gerth.
Welcome to
Holy shit, I'm here.
Hi, Gerald.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Listen, we would have preferred to have a win tonight, but it is what it is. What did Monty and the guys say about this one?
Yeah, Monty was saying that he didn't feel like the team had the sharpness or the game plan discipline tonight to guard what is the number one offense in the NBA. He gave credit to the Kings offense, but was saying we were just fouling too much. They got to the line 37 times, and when you couple that with a lot of the transition buckets that they gave up, a lot of just transition opportunities that they gave up after a made basket, their sharpness just wasn't there. And so he was pretty critical of that, and he said it was unacceptable how many points the Kings bench was able to score. Obviously, the Suns are still trying to figure out some things with their bench, trying to get different guys in the rotation to see what they can and can't give them. But when you get outscored that much from the second units, that's a tough discrepancy to make up. So he wasn't very pleased with a lot of things in tonight's game. And he was saying, obviously there were calls that didn't go our way, but he didn't want to get up there and rant and rave about it and pick up a fine, because he's been pretty resolute in saying that it doesn't do them any good, because he has done that before and it hasn't really changed things for them.
First off, any update on Torrey Craig? It looked like he tweaked his ankle twice there in the fourth quarter. Was he doing all right after the game?
He seemed fine after the game. We didn't get an update on him or anything, but he's the guy that's going to take his nicks and bruises and get back out there. We did talk to DA. Obviously, he dove for that loose ball and kind of got up holding his right knee. He was saying he's fine. He just scraped his knee, and he was joking he hasn't dove on the floor like that since college. So it was just a testament to how competitive a game this was, how playoff-like it was in its intensity. But he said he's fine afterwards.
You brought up DA. Did Monty have much to say about him tonight? A pretty impressive bounce-back game after offensively he's been a little MIA as of late.
Yeah, it was a good game. DA was saying in the locker room he felt like he's gotten a little bit back closer to his rhythm the last couple of games. He was saying the way teams were guarding the Suns with Kevin Durant on the roster, it kind of threw him off and got him a little bit out of rhythm, but he felt like these last two games and tonight especially, he was back more in the groove. When it came to the fourth quarter, he only got one shot, and Monty was asked about it, and he was saying, I'll have to go back and look at the film, but it didn't feel, and it could be the case where we need to get him more involved specifically, but he emphasized this offense is always about taking what the defense gives you. He didn't have a problem with the Suns' shot selection. He felt they just didn't fall. They were able to generate 44 three-pointers, but they only made, I think, 29.5% of them. So it was just a rough shooting night. You look at Ish Wainwright, you look at some of Chris Paul even, you look at some of the guys, they just couldn't knock down shots. But this is going to be something to keep an eye on over these next few weeks without Kevin Durant. Is they're going to have to find ways to either get Chris Paul to take more shots and be more aggressive, or to get DA those shots, because he was saying he felt a little rusty on some of his shots, like his push floater, just because he hasn't had that many looks in the last few games.
Gerald, the chat wants to know what's behind you. Is it kids, hyenas, birds, or dogs fighting?
They are kids. They sound like hyenas, but they are kids. They are getting up shots. The Suns like to do this after home games every now and then, and it's great for them and not so great for me.
Did you pick up a side gig as a babysitter? You need to tell us?
I did not, because I'm not getting paid for this, so this is a really unfortunate scenario.
That one came from Jose.
So you're a parent now is what you're saying. You're just watching kids and not getting paid.
Oh, this is far too early for this.
In terms of the bench, we saw a lot of guys play, but not a lot of guys play a lot of minutes. Mm-hmm. Did Monty talk at all about the distribution of this? Like, campaign seemed to kind of be in an offensive flow for the first time in a little while, but only got 7 minutes after he got those 3 fouls. Any explanation as to why that kind of happened tonight?
No, but I think you look at who they were playing in the Kings and the significant playoff race that's developing between those two. If the Suns had picked this one up, they would have moved, I think, within a game and a half of the Kings for that 3 seed. So I think tonight was, especially with Kevin Durant out, all about kind of riding the starters and trying to pick this win up. Obviously, they were unable to do so, but you look at the minutes totals for the starters, and it looks like they were riding the guys that were playing well, Book, CP3, DA in particular, logging some heavy minutes there.
Okay, so this is something we haven't talked about yet, but I just remember that it was something that I did want to bring up. the Kings went to kind of they tried to take Book out in the third quarter, and they were fairly successful at that. But Book found another way to impact the game as far as facilitating. He finished tonight with 8 assists. What did you like that you saw from Book in the way that he was able to still have an impact on this game when the Kings were really targeting him defensively?
Yeah, I think this is something that I wrote about a couple of months ago as well, just his progress as a guy who can not only pass out of double teams and blitzes, but actually kind of manipulate them and bend them to his will, because he's seen most coverages that defenses are going to throw at him by this point. And he's gotten really good at not just finding the open man, but targeting the guy on the backside and seeing where the defense is trying to rotate and going against that. And I feel like he did a pretty good job tonight of keeping the ball moving. The Kings were sending doubles at him pretty much the entire game. And he's gotten so good about getting off the ball. Sometimes he needs to get off the ball a little bit quicker, but he's gotten better about not turning it over in those situations, about letting the offense capitalize on those 4-on-3 opportunities. I do think the Suns needed to find a way to free him up a little bit more in that second half in particular. I think he only took 6 shots in the second half when he was really cooking in the first. And he had a couple of stretches where he came to life, that big offensive rebound and putback bucket, and then the 3 that he had that bounced in. Those were big-time plays, but the Suns couldn't get stops on the other end. And, you don't want to waste the energy of your star player when he's having to make plays like that and you're still not able to get stops, because then it just turns into a back and forth, and that's kind of what it felt like tonight, especially in such a high-scoring game.
Gerald, can you turn around and ask, who is your daddy and what does he do to them from Kindergarten Cop, please?
I don't think I have the appropriate outfit for that, but I'll take a rain check on that.
You have to go back and read the chat and how they're describing what may or may not be behind you. One of them suggested you might be in the final episode of Last of Us with all the clicking and all the sounds. So be careful out there, my friend.
All right, I'll watch out for the cordyceps and the bloaters out here, but they're getting pretty close.
Anything else, Gerald, that stood out to you from tonight's game or that you heard from any of the players?
Not really. I did ask Devin Booker about how difficult it is to stay locked in because, look, whether you want to say it was the Suns fouling too much or the refs giving the Suns an unkind whistle, that second quarter was completely bogged down by fouls. And so I asked him if it's difficult to stay locked in and execute their game plan when a game gets so choppy like that. And he was saying, no, we need to just stay locked in no matter what. But obviously it's a little bit more difficult. It's easier to say this now than in the moment. So that is something that the Suns need to work on. And it was something that Monty criticized them for because before the game, he was talking about how they need to stay emotionally stable when the Kings make their runs because they are such a high-scoring offense. And I asked him after the game how he felt they did on that, and he said it was not good at all. So, we've seen the Suns get bogged down and get bothered by the officials, complain a little bit too much at times. This felt like one of those nights where it kind of came back to bite them in the way that it swung the game in that second quarter.
Yeah. Monty might not complain about it, but we did. So.
Oh, I'm sure. And there were, to be fair, there were a lot of bad foul calls in this game. Like it did feel like we had 41 free throw attempts in the first half combined for the two teams. I thought this game was going to end on Sunday. So
that's the other part is it's just boring. Like it's not fun. Yeah.
No.
That's like beyond because I saw Kings fans on Twitter complaining about missed foul calls tonight and things of that nature. And I'm not going to go too deep down onto that rabbit hole, but regardless of where the missed foul calls lie, as far as which team, it's not fun to watch. And that's the bigger issue. It's nobody wants to see all of that.
Right. Yeah. Fred VanVleet made a great point the other day, and he got fined $30K for it. I understand why the Suns would prefer to bite their tongue and keep their hard-earned cash, but at the same time, it does feel like something that continues to happen, and it's a problem, a league-wide problem that the NBA needs to address because watching a free throw contest and watching officials puff their chests and blow a bunch of fouls is not fun to watch at all.
Yeah. Well, guess what? We can't get fined here, at least not by the league. So we've got Monty's back. Go feed that kid a banana or something to quiet it down already. All right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Honestly, the comment, I'm surprised you haven't flinched yet because it just comes out of nowhere. It's like right in your ear. I'm impressed, Gerald. I'm impressed.
I mean, I'm a professional until one of these kids comes and takes my knee out, and then I'm on the sidelines for a few weeks. But until then, we're going to not flinch.
Well, let's not push our luck. Gerald, thank you so much for calling in from the Footprint Center and giving us updates from Coach Monty Williams and the players. We appreciate it. Guys, thank you for joining us here in the chat. Thank you for listening to us wherever you guys listen to your podcast. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button on your way out if you're on YouTube, or to rate, review, and subscribe if you're listening wherever you get your podcast, because it really helps us out a lot, and we appreciate it. We will not have a show tomorrow on Sunday, but we will be back on Monday because the Suns are playing again. So we'll have a pregame show and a postgame show for you then, so plan to come hang out with us. Until then, you can follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_Suns. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. You can follow me at Lindsay Smith AZ. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
Remember, chimpanzees make everything more fun. Ahoy, hoy.
PHNX. Hey yo, my lifestyle is retro. Tell the Phoenix Metro. Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though. Lindsay, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the